All right, Shalom. This is Hara One Bun Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp, located right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Before I begin, I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah Kodash, Ma'amah. Double honor to the elder apostles at GMS, and Shalom to you, Akim, and Akwatim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. Today, we're going to be reading from our article dealing with the recent pushback against Iran and the fall of the Assad regime over there in Syria. All right, so let's pull up this article because you have the saying. The saying is that Iran is on its back foot now, is being pushed into a corner. All right, by the West and its allies, Israel, America, and actually some parts of Turkey as well, dealing with Syria. Now, we know that Iran's axis of resistance has been obliterated. All right. This is what made Iran strong is their axis of resistance and also Syria being a defense for Iran. Air, you know, to block air attacks against Iran. Um, it was a hub for a lot of Iran's militias like Hezbollah, you know. So I'm gonna read it in a second. It's gonna get more detailed, but this is basically the beginning of Armageddon. All right, the war kicking off over there in what's called the Middle East, which is going to become a hot war, direct war, which is going to lead up to the doorsteps of America. All right, it's going to become so extreme and deadly over there, and the war is going to climax so much that it's going to reach the shores of America. All right, actually, it's going to cause America to be destroyed, according to the scriptures. All right, so it says, where next for Iran now that its axis of resistance is shattered? All right, so not only we have Hezbollah, let me pull it up. I get one right here, maybe. Find an open window. Okay, here. All right, so Iran's axis of resistance, and their axis of resistance basically was where is it at? If they don't have it, here go an example. All right, it says, what is Iran's axis of resistance? The network that Iran calls, so I can turn this music down. The network that Iran calls the axis of resistance includes Hamas. They got destroyed, 90% destroyed over there in Gaza. Hezbollah, which recently got obliterated. All of their leaders were allegedly unalived with exploding cell phones and other means of Israel taking them out. And I said this in a prior lesson that by doing so, they're creating a lane, an open lane straight to Iran. And the only thing that was blocking that open lane from getting to Iran was Syria. So they can attack Iran. All right. So Hamas, Hezbollah, the Syrian government, all right, who they say was a puppet regime from Iran and Russia. Um, the Houthis of Yemen, which they got obliterated. All this happened in 1 year as well, within a matter of months. And armed groups in Syria and Iraq. All right. So, and America has the same um, groups. You know, how can I say it? The same type of militias over there because the U.S. has bases in Syria, they have bases in Iraq, they have bases in Mosul, which is modern day Assyria. You know, going back to ancient Assyria, Nineveh. So Baghdad, Kuwait, which I think over there near Iraq, Afghanistan. So, you know, America allegedly has ties with ISIS, right? So, the axis of resistance has been obliterated, and this is a major step because it's going to cause Iran to have their back against the wall. All right, Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah, Ministry of Intelligence and Security, was it took a lot of them out. Um, Majis, whatever, the military. Then you have Soleimani, all their generals they took out. Iran's Revolutionary Guard, they took out a lot of their generals. Israel took out a lot of their generals. The Quds forces assisting the Syrian regime carrying out terror attacks. Wow, it's deep. So all of that's been broken up. Now, what happened is Iran has been left without any protection at this moment. Of course, you have on the talks on the table of their nuclear production, right? Did I click off the wrong one? So lucky. All right, so my bad. Let me pull this tab up. I think I went to the wrong tab. Yeah, you erased it. Let me pull it up real quick. There we go. So like I hadn't closed the tab. I had the news article on. All right, let me go back to it. So it says, where next for Iran? All right. So it says here, where next for Iran now that its axis of resistance is shattered? So when a nation has their back against the wall, they're either gonna cop out and bow down to the other nation, submit to them, or um, they may get ousted, like and that other nation puts in a puppet regime, like what they did with Bashar al-Assad, like what America always does over there in the Middle East, or they look for other means to strengthen themselves. And the only options Iran has is to turn to Russia, China, and its allies, and the BRICS nations, and the Muslim Brotherhood, or and also uh, they're gonna bring out them nuclear deterrence onto the stage. All right. So where next for Iran now that its axis of resistance is shattered and their back is against the wall? They making him the target, this guy here, and to get to him, they had to get rid of this regime, and they did it. A lot of people saying that it was a lot of Israel's and America's allies, like they said ISIS allegedly. What's the other one, man? They used to always say they would terrorists, but a lot of them was actually allied with America. So it says here, amid the shattered glass and trampled flags, oh, posters of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei lie ripped on the floor of the Iranian embassy in Damascus, right? Because that's Babylon, America's MO, cause division, right, between nations and people. They cause insurrection and sedition in people's countries before they go to. A lot of times when they go to war with them, all right. There are torn pictures too of the former leader of Lebanon's Hezbollah movement, Hassan Nasrallah, who they took out, right, who was unalived in an Israeli air attack strike in Beirut in September. Outside, the ornate turquoise tiles on the embassy's facade are intact, but the defaced giant image of Iran's vastly influential former military Revolutionary Guards commander Qasem Soleimani, unalived on the orders of Donald Trump during his first presidency, is a further reminder of the series of blows Iran has faced, culminating on Sunday in the fall of a key ally, Syrian President Bashar al Assad. All right. So, as the Islamic Republic licks its wounds and prepares for a new Donald Trump presidency, will it decide on a more hardline approach? Right. And this could also be the reason for those drones popping up that they allege some lawmakers here in America have alleged that through their resources that it could be from Iran, those drones that are over Jersey and New York. Or will it renew negotiations with the West? And just how stable is the regime? That regime, that reg, that regime and the Middle East is completely unstable right now. All right. Even if they renew negotiations with America, this war is still gonna kick off, or it's according to prophecy. Regional aftershocks. In his first speech after the toppling of Assad, Khamenei was putting a brave face on strategic defeat. Now 85-year-old Ayatollah, I guess, he faces the looming challenges of succession, having been in power and the ultimate authority in Iran since 1989. Iran is strong and powerful and will become even stronger, he claimed. So, how is it going to become stronger? Through this right here. This right here. All right, let me get this. Joel 3 and 10. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, man. So they're going to, because I think they already got those ICBMs, but they're going to make them nuclear equipped. All right. Into spears, man. ICBM missiles. Let the weak say, I am strong. So the Most High going to allow it. He's going to allow Persia, Russia, and all of them to say they're strong because of their allies, because of their weapons technology that they haven't not unveiled yet to to everybody. You know, and then they're them going nuclear. So they're gonna, they're gonna what say I am strong, and that's prophetic right here. It says what next for Iran now that its axis of resistance is shattered. Let me make sure the sound is on. I think I'm gonna stop using this StreamYard after a while. It always got issues. All right, so let's keep going with this article. So, that's their statement saying that they're strong and they're going to become stronger. And, Iran is strong. Let the weak say I'm strong and powerful and will become even stronger, he claimed. Wow. He insisted that the Iran led alliance in the Middle East, which includes Hamas, Hezbollah, Yemen's Houthis, and Iraqi Shia militias, the scope of resistance against Israel would only strengthen too. But that didn't happen. All right. It didn't strengthen. More pressure you exert, the stronger the resistance becomes. The more crime you commit, talking about Netanyahu and the Israelis, the more determined it becomes. The more you fight against it, the more it expands, he said. Wow. But the regional aftershocks of Hamas massacres in Israel on October 2023, which were applauded, if not supported by Iran, have left the regime reeling. Israel's retaliation against its enemies has created a new landscape in the Middle East, which with Iran very much on the back foot now, man. All right, and that's scripture. All the dominoes have been falling, says James Jeffrey, a former U.S. diplomat and deputy national security advisor who now works at the nonpartisan, no matter. The Iranian axis of resistance has been smashed by Israel and now blown up by events in Syria. Iran is left with no real proxy in the region other than the Houthis in Yemen. That's what they're gonna go for next. All right. Iran does still back powerful militias in neighboring Iraq, but according to Mr. Jeffrey, this is a totally unprecedented collapse of a regional hegemony, man. Regional leading ruling power. Wow. All right, so this was major. And you don't hear about it all over the news, that situation with Assad. It might pop up here and there. See glimpses of it, but all you hear about is Jay-Z. The last public sighting of Assad was in a meeting with the Iranian foreign minister on December 1st when he vowed to crush the rebels advancing on the Syrian capital. The Kremlin, Russia, has said he is now in Russia after fleeing the country. So what do you think what do you think who do you think Iran's going to run to next? They're going to run to Russia as well. And that's Ezekiel 38. All right. So let's get the scripture real quick. So it said what? Where was it at? Right. It says Iran's axis of resistance has been smashed by Israel. Wow. Let me get this precept real quick. All right. This is Second Ezra's 15 and 30. We just went over this the other day. 15 and 29. Oh, 28. Behold, a horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east. And that's where all this is happening at, and what they call the Middle East. All right. Let me show you a picture. Mm, I think this one good. Okay, so this is where is it? This is where America has a lot of its bases, the military bases, and a lot of their allies. Can I show this one? It won't show for some reason. All right, right here. You can see U.S. bases right here, right? And you got Syria, you got the Kurds, Iraq, and up here you got Mosul, which would be Assyria. All right, and these are Russian bases all throughout Syria, man. They got a major stronghold over there in Syria, and Russia may have to step in and help because a lot of their soldiers over there are backed into a corner by the rebels now. The rebels, which are backed by Israel, right? The Euphrates River, that's in prophecy, all right? And when if this river continues to dry up, it's going to become part of the land for people to move, for nations to move their tanks over, and maybe go to war with the Kurds, and the Kurds go to war um, over here in this region, all right? Because the Kurds are being oppressed by Turkey, who controls the Euphrates River, 90% of it, the water flow that flows downward, and they've been stopping the water flow, which has caused the Euphrates River to dry up, and also through drought, which is all really according to prophecy. All right, let's get that. So like, bear with me. All right, this is Revelation 16:12, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And those kings of the east, one of the major kings of the east is Iran. All right, Russia and his allies. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of Europe, England, right? The banking system that's leading and manipulating this whole war, and out of the mouth of the beast, NATO, America, and its allies, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, Roman Catholic Church. But they are all spirits of devils. So who's pushing that demonocracy over there? Spirits of devils, man. Working miracles which go forth unto the kings of the earth. So that's why they over there in the Middle East and of the whole world, including Russia and China, to gather them to the battle of the great day of Yahweh Almighty. Come on, man. All right, so this is being led up to right here. And he gathered them together in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, meaning gathering of troops. All right. So this is where a lot of the troops are going to amass for war. Look at that. All right. Let's see if I can get another picture. Let's go back to this article. All right. Now, let me get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Let's maybe look at this one. Oh my goodness. Salakia. Trying to pull up this website real quick, but it won't let me. All right. Yeah, so that's basically it. There you go. That's a good one. Let's check this one out. All right, right here. This is a good example. Um, Mosul. That's what I was trying to show you. This is modern day Turkey, or where Nineveh used to be. All right. You see Syria and you see Iraq, and then Iran right here. So Iran and his ally Syria. In between, you have American bases causing discord and uh, you know, downfalls of regimes in that country, in that area, so they can keep their manipulation, you know, um, America's hegemony over here in the Middle East. ISIS operational presence area. Okay, so now let's go back. So behold, an horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east. You know, the kings of the east, the Middle East, Armageddon, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. So those nations, those Arab nations over there in Iraq, the militias that's backing America, you know, some say that Al Qaeda or ISIS is causing these the fall of the Assad regime. 'Cause they like, who the hell is that riding through the city now? That's taking over the rebels. Who are they? They're not. One guy that's from Syria, he said, "Yo, they're not Syrians. They're Arabs. All right. So they're going to be using these proxies to go against each other, those Arab nations, and they're going to come out against people, Iran and its allies, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that they which hear them may fear and tremble." All right, and that's what they've been causing, nothing but fear and trembling over there in the Middle East, America and its allies and its proxies. Also, the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. You know, the wild boars of the wood, they come out in a straight attack. And the Carmanians are Persians, all right, the Iranians. Um, and so that's Iran and its allies are going to come out and fight. And with great power shall they come and join the battle with them. So they're going to join the battle against these Arabs and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Now that's important because again, today you have um, a huge number of American bases over there in Mosul and Syria. I don't know why they won't let me pull these websites up. There we go. All right, U.S. bases to stay in post-war Syria for blocking Russia-Iran consolidation. Look at that. U.S. forces in Syria. They all over that, John. And then you got um can I pull up many bases? I'm gonna just show you this one. This one look a little jumbled, but you get the point. Look at this, man. Can you even see Mosul? Look at Iraq. This is Lebanon and Syria right here. So Mosul would have to be like around here. All right. So you got all these military bases from the U.S. over there. All right. So if you go here, you can see this whole area. They go Damascus. That would be part of what was called ancient Assyria. All right. Um, you know, up here I don't see I don't see this one of them weird maps. We'll get one that's more clear. Mm. All right, so what's this one? It says Syria state. I think the one that's more clear. Oh, I'm trying to find this. I like it, man. I'm gonna go back through this because I don't know if my recording stopped or not. Let's go here. All right, I'm gonna read that again just in case. So Salaki, if I'm reading it twice, it says reports of rising numbers of defections by ISIS fighters in Mosul and Raqqa. So a lot of these ISIS fighters, Al Qaeda fighters, they have defected, and a lot of them have allied with America and its allies, like Israel. And today they call them rebels that have taken down the Syrian regime. U.S. to train 25,000 Iraqi troops, which Iraqis are Arabs, Ishmaelites, to retake Iraq's second largest city from ISIS, man. All right, and a lot of ISIS and Al Qaeda members, ISIL or whatever, they have allied and joined up with America over here near Mosul, which is today called, well, ancient name for it was Nineveh or Assyria. All right, so America has bases all up in there, like I showed you earlier, right here. All right, so you see, America has bases all up in these areas. But modern day Mosul is the province of Nineveh, Mosul. Okay, so right near between Syria and Iran. America has proxies all through here, just like Russia has proxies over here in Syria. All right, so this area all the way down to the near Damascus was called Nineveh or Assyria. All right, the ancient Assyrian Empire. So the land demographics, that's still Assyria. All right, prophetically. All right, so let's go back to the scripture. It says, "What also the Iranians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the woods, and with great power shall they come, man." All right, so they're gonna have great power. Remember, he said they're strong and they're gonna become stronger. So we're gonna see the might and power of those Iranians real soon. They're the ones in the movie 300 that said our arrows shall blot out the sun. That's their way of thinking. They created the game of chess. All right. Um, and then they're gonna link up with their allies, the BRICS nations and Russia and the OPEC nations. And also they're gonna go nuclear. What? So and they shall join the battle with them and against them really, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. So that land, see, that's where America has its bases at. Um, that's in what is that in? Let me see. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Right. right, here we go. Now let's go with what's the one I want? So I can. This is Genesis 16 and 11. All right. It says, and the angel of Yahweh said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael. The Ishmaelites today are those Arabs, the dragons of Arabia. All right. And right there is talking about the proxies. They're going to be basically joining into this battle, being used on both sides of the spectrum. Because Yahweh have heard thy affliction. This is talking about Hagar, and they call them Hagarenes in the scripture. And he will be a wild man living out in the desert, like dragons of Arabia. Just wild out there in the deserts. His hand will be against every man. So so they even fighting against themselves. They fighting against Esau. They fighting against Iran. Ishmael is a soldier for hire. All right. And every man's hand shall be against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. That's what called the Muslim Brotherhood. Okay. So that's Ishmael. But let's get this real quick too while I'm here. Uh, Joel 2:20. Joel 2:20. It says here, but I will remove far off from you the northern army. So America's army has been moved far off from its own borders. All right, a large portion of America's military is in all around the world. The borders on the doorstep of Russia. They got bases all throughout the Middle East. All right. And will drive him into a land barren and desolate. And when did they do that? We went over this many times in this truth. Let's get a Middle East map real quick. So I can pull this map real fast. I'm taking forever. Slocky, man. There we go. Make sure I got my sound. Okay. Let's go back. So right here it says what? So drive them into a land barren and desolate. And what was that? That land that's barren and desolate is where is it at? Iraq. All right. So this is where America was called back to Baghdad. Project Operation Desert Storm with George Bush Sr. It was Operation Baghdad. And then look what you got. Mosul right here. Syria, Damascus. So America set up its bases here. All right. And started causing conflict, moving in that Illuminati spirit, that order ab chaos. Right. So let's keep going. It says, but I will remove far off from you the northern army, America's army, North America, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate. That's over here in the deserts, with his face towards the East Sea. And the East Sea will represent the Caspian Sea, all right, which used to be one with the Black Sea. If you look up the history of it, it was waters right here, but it was called the Caspian Sea, the East Sea. Um, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea, and the utmost sea, his hinder part would be the Red Sea. All right, so they America's here with their bases, um, you know, being mixed up in other people's business. right? It says, so where was that? It says with the hinder part towards the utmost sea. All right. Yeah, his face towards the east sea. So his face is towards what? Iran. That's the direction they're going. They're trying to conquer all this area. And not only that, they want to conquer Russia. All right. So they're trying to take all of this, divide and conquer. That's what they're trying to do. And his stink shall come up. All right. So a lot of unalived American soldiers over here. And his ill savor shall come up because he have done great things, right? They went over there in that spirit of Babylon the Great, pushing that make America great spirit while destroying other people's nations and slaughtering them. So this is all prophecy happening right now. All right. Influence. Damn, I've been trying to think of that word this whole lesson. Influence. America's losing its influence in the Middle East. All right. So let's go back to Second Ezra because this is happening right now. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, Ishmaelites, remembering their nature, even though they're being used as proxies, they're remembering that um, they're the wild ones. All right. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together with their allies, conspiring together with America and its allies and great power, Babylon the Great, to persecute them, to persecute the Bashar al-Assad, the regime in Iran. Then these shall be troubled, bled, right? Iran and all its proxies and the axis of resistance it was called, right? Was called because that shit got obliterated and keep silence through their power, all right? And shall flee. They on the back foot right now, and they're forced to be kept silent, moving in silence, obscurity, just like whoa, we don't want no trouble. And they caused to flee. Look at Bashar al-Assad. He had to flee the country. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them. So from this land of Assyria or Mosul shall America and its allies and Israel besiege the Iranians and its allies and consume some of them. All right, they're being consumed now. And in their host shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings, man. Look at that. They done took out most of their leaders. So now they're in fear. The guy Ayatollah is in hiding right now. All right, so like I ain't even have it on here. Behold, all right, so now that's right. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. So it's gonna be destruction over there. All these nations from the south, from the north, from the east, the kings of the east, they're gonna join up and back and back Iran. All right, they're not gonna leave Iran stuck out there. Okay, so it's gonna be Armageddon. So when those nations show up to back Iran and Russia, and they get involved in this war, it's gonna be scary to look on the TV. Even then, shall evils grow upon the earth when everybody think themselves to be in good case, and then they're gonna see it, and they're gonna be troubled with terrible fear. All right, so let's go back to. I'm gonna get one more precept. All right, because this is prophecy, man. Let's get that. There you go. Let's go to Matthew 6 and 2. End it with this. Matthew 6 and 2. Therefore, when thou no, no. This I'm on 24. So like it. Matthew 24 and 6. It says here, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, man. So we're hearing it. We're hearing about the wars kicking off, and we're hearing about rumors of wars. All right. And see that ye be not troubled. See, we're not supposed to be troubled by this, but when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. But the elect, the hopeful elect, are not supposed to be troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. The end is talking about judgment day. That's what all this is about. Everything's leading up to the point of judgment day, when Yahweh is seen upon the throne and casting judgment upon the earth, and the day of destruction. All right, the end is not yet. Nation shall rise up against nation, and we're seeing it. All right, that's just letting us know that the prophecies are in place. That's like the contractions of a woman in pregnancy, but the birth is not here yet. The day of deliverance. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. All right, Iran, um, and its proxies, Israel and its proxies, or should I say, America and its proxies. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. All right. So, yeah, man, Iran is strong and powerful, and it will become even stronger, they claimed. As um wow, man. It said the more pressure you exert, the stronger the resistance becomes. The more crimes you commit, the more determined it becomes. The more you fight against it, the more it expands. See that? It's going to expand. And remember, remind you, they have members of these militias, the Axis of Resistance, Hezbollah, all that. They all over here in America now, and sprinkled throughout the world. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this one up, man. It says the Iranian axis of resistance has been smashed by Israel and now blown upon by the events in Syria. Iran is left with no real proxy in the region other than the Houthis in Yemen. So they're going to seek strength to be able to defend themselves and deter any attacks from Israel, because that's Israel's plan, because they right there, they got a straight line path into Iran now with nothing blocking them except for Russia and the people in Yemen. They said Houthi rebels in Yemen. So we'll see what happens, man. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think below. And also hit the like, share, and if you haven't subscribed already yet, subscribe to our page, and appreciate your support, and stay in the spirit, man, because we almost out of here. And keep on believing, man. Shalom.